I'm going to go to is it working now? Is it still broken? I am going to, all right, oops. It's working now. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone then. I'm afraid to touch anything at this point. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's see, what can I do here? I can leave that alone and just not mess with it. Okay. Oh, man, what a, all right, let me go check the comments. It looks like people is, okay, so you got that. Hey, Silly Willie, how's it going? Sorry about this, the mess here. Hey, you know, Red Boy, it's fine. You know, just for whatever, right? I mean, you know, yeah, Bill's good. I mean, I know what you meant. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to swear it. Okay. And okay. Hey, Space Cowboy, I am doing okay. A little bit hectic, but you know, it's the holidays. You know. Okay. Well, I hope everybody is, you know, yeah, having a good holiday season, and you know, getting all their Christmas shopping done, or you know, whatever it is that they celebrated this holiday season. And there are the dogs. I don't know what they're on about now, but they're on about it, aren't they? Heebie-jeebie. All right, I'm gonna go back and see if I can finish playing this game of Codebreaker. And yikes. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, but for me it's loud. All right. Heebie-jeebie. Hey, thanks, AJ. I'm glad you stopped by. You know, stop by when you can, man. There is no pressure on this. And Megan. Hey, cool. Well, I'm glad you came by, Megan. And these are, yeah, I'm doing these every Saturday now at 8 o'clock. Right on, the wizard. Woof woof. Right. Yeah. All right. All right. So let me get on with this thing here with the Codebreaker thing. Wow. What a crazy start to a stream, huh? Right. Rosanna Dana. Right. Okay. Well, since we're here now, I got 2 scoring marbles here, right? And so that means I know the red's in it, so I picked the right thing here. However, I know red doesn't go there because then yellow has nowhere else to go. But since red was in these 3 spots and that gave me a white, red has to go there. There is no other option. And then now yellow, I just have to pick one of the spots that it was in on that row. So now we'll introduce green, and then I'm going to check the comments. I just saw them move in my peripheral vision. Interesting. Well, I know that red goes there anyway. Wow, 5 a.m. Yikes. Nope. It was just, I don't know. YouTube just was not liking speaking to my OBS, I guess. But it seems to, well, you know, it's working now. So let's just take what we can get, shall we? Well, anyway, so red has to go here. We know that. I've already deduced that. The other cool thing in this particular line is that yellow and green are what these two white scorers are referring to. So if green can't go in either or any of these three spots, it has to go where the yellow is now. And now yellow is down to 2 spots, one of these two. So I'll choose the left-hand one just for whatever. And let's introduce the light blue, shall we? Okay, hey, what do you know? Three in the afternoon in Australia, right on. All right, and you guys are summertime on the other side of the globe there, aren't you? All right, now let me stick in the dark blue. I just arbitrarily picked the left-hand one of the light blues here. And I picked right, but the blue is wrong. So now it's just a matter of plugging in the purple and the magenta and see which one works. And then I think I'll move on to the jar and the crinkle bag and the chunk of wood, etc. So there will be tapping. Hey, what do you know? Well, I'll do a quick ring first, and then I'll do the other stuff. Yikes. Sorry about the flashing, everybody. Okay, we know we have magenta. Just not in any of these spots. There we go. Magenta goes there. So now let's stick in purple. All right, not yet. There we go. So magenta's here, purple's there. Okay, dark blue is in. Okay, we need to keep the magenta. It's going to go here with that last, there we go. All right, so there we go. So these three in a row right there are what we need. We're going to keep the purple. I'm going to throw in the light blue. All right. Still not, it's going to go right here then. Hey, the Wizard Tuesday, thank you very much. That's crazy generous, man. I appreciate anytime you guys have to do this. It just, kind of starts to make me get, I don't know, choked up a little bit, frankly. You know what I mean? 37 degrees, right? Okay, I have to do the conversion in my head. So if I round it to 35, 35 divided by 5 is 7 times 9 is what's that? 42 plus 32 is, wait, that's not right. 7 times 9 is, that's what it is it's 63 plus 32 is 95. Yeah, that's pretty warm. Do I believe in life after death? I guess the short answer is no, because I don't. Oh man, here's the thing. What is the difference between believing and knowing, right? It's a process that your brain does with information, right? I have no evidence that there's nothing that I can, nothing that's consistent and reliably put forward suggests from a scientific standpoint that there is life after death. Now, that doesn't mean it isn't there. It just means we have no, logical argument for it that is consistent and reliable. So I don't know. So I guess I don't say that I believe in life after death. I just say that I don't know. But I don't, yeah. So I guess the short answer is no, I don't believe in life after death. But, I can't prove to you that it doesn't exist either, right? James says, Bill, do you have any tips for someone doing math in their head? Any techniques I could practice? Okay, so if you're looking for arithmetic in your head, I'm not really the best guy to ask. I mean, the only things I know are, like all the basic ones, if it's a multiple of 5, it's a 0 or a 5 at the end. If it's a multiple of 3, you add up the digits. And if it's, that's a multiple of 3, that the number that you started with is a multiple of 3, stuff like that. I am really, really lousy at arithmetic, though. Most of the stuff I was good at mathematically is kind of the weirder conceptual stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I wish I could offer you something better than that, man. But, yeah, you know, like the little thing I just did a minute ago, right? That's just because, well, I guess I'll just go through the whole thing, right? So, from Celsius to Fahrenheit, right? If you think about it, the boiling temperature of water is 100, okay? And it's, Celsius, centigrade, whatever you want to call it. And that it's 212 in Fahrenheit. So how do you get from 100 to 212, right? Well, okay, so we know that water freezes in Fahrenheit at 32, so you're going to have to take 32 off the 212, right? And that gets you down to 180. So how do you get from 100 to 180, right? Well, if you divide 100 by 5, that gives you 20, and then multiply that by 9, that gives you the 180. You see what I mean? I don't know, I just have to break things down into weird things like that. But the other thing, right, since I understand that the principle of how the translation happens, I can kind of construct the formula and then just kind of walk through it. So part of it's a memory thing, right? And some of the math stuff I do reasonably well. If it's not the conceptual weird stuff, which I'm kind of good at, it's just because I've been doing it a long time, you know what I mean? So my memory kind of holds on to it, yeah, you know? I don't know. I hope that helped. I kind of feel like it didn't. The wave returns back to the ocean, right? Yeah. Well, I'm glad you could too. Victor, yeah, it's good to see you, man. Okay, anyway, so if I can get back to this thing here and finish it up. So I think I'm here, right? Because we just got that one. So this, right? So I need to move. I think I'm here now. I think I'm here now. So I think I'm here now. We've done with the light blue, so let's try the green. Yeah, where you go. Nope, green is not in it. Let's try the yellow. Yellow is in it, so I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So I should be here now, and that should be yellow. Yes, this should turn that black. Yep, okay, so now I'm here. That's either orange or red. Nope, it's not orange. So I'm at the light blue. I'm at the magenta. I'm at the dark blue. I'm at the purple. Now I'm at the yellow. So now I'm at the orange, and this should turn red, and that should be code cracked. Okay. Or they say code broken here and code cracked on the other one. Now we'll just leave that be for a minute. Let me go back to get the OBS thing here. Let me switch to this bit here. That's fine there like that. Okay, and then we get a drink of water. Okay, what to start with? Well, somebody had asked for tapping earlier, so how about we start with the chunk of wood? Yeah, okay. I'll do the pads of my fingers first, and then I'll do my fingernails. And I'll try and do a little bit of the patting my head and rubbing my stomach or vice versa thing. You know, trying to speak over here while I tap over there. I don't know what it is about my brain, just doesn't want to do it. Has anybody got any cool Christmas gifts that they have bought for someone else? Well, here's the thing: you have to be willing to share it here, right? In the hopes that the person that you're getting the cool gift for doesn't watch my channel. Which I suppose there's a really good chance they don't, right? Oh, one thing I might as well talk about this a little bit. My sister and I are both pretty much broke, so it was her idea, and I kind of just glommed onto her idea. We're gonna just make some silly sort of arts and crafts type stuff for people, that kind of, I don't know, we'll see how it turns out. So paper mache and that kind of thing. Hopefully people will find it, amusing and heartwarming and all of that kind of thing. Scratcher tickets right on. Let me know if he hits it big, man. That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Let's go over to the other side. And I'll do a little whisper over here. Hang on. Okay. And do a little whisper. Do a little tapping. Do a little whisper. Do a little tapping. A little bit of whispering. A little bit of tapping. A little bit of whispering. A little bit of tapping. Hey, look, it's 1111. Oh, it went by real quick, didn't it? Oh, right on, James. Has anybody out there in the chat ever won any significant thing like off a lottery or anything like that? I mean, I didn't ever play the California lottery all that much. Once in a while. Mostly because if you just buy a couple of tickets or whatever, you're really just paying for a fantasy, aren't you? You know what I mean? Because if you didn't buy a ticket, then you can't fantasize really about the money, right? Because it's like you have no chance. If you don't buy any tickets, that's zero, right? So, yeah. Buy a ticket, whatever, it's $1. But the most I ever did is I had, I don't remember how long it was weeks, where I didn't really win a lot of money, but I kept winning like just a little bit here and there. And so I would just give me more tickets kind of thing. And I just kept it going for a while. And it seemed like forever. Like I was just playing on I think I bought like $3, so 3 tickets. Because I was buying something else at a corner store. It was back when I was drinking. So I was probably buying booze and cigarettes, to be honest. And I think I had 3 stray ones in my wallet. And I said, hey, you know what, give me some tickets for this. And I played for weeks. I mean, it was fun, but I've never really won anything significant out of a lottery or anything. Actually, I've never won anything significant, like as far as a prize like that. Okay, let's switch back over here and I'll do the fingernail thing for a bit. Oops, eeks. Don't bang the thing, Bill. I feel like I'm being awfully clumsy today. There you go. Good expenditure, huh? I guess I do have to take that back. I have won money in Reno a few times, but not a gigantic amount. A couple $100 here and there. It was back when I was doing the computer programming thing, and I had a fair amount of disposable income. And a guy that I met actually on a cruise ship. I went out of Houston down to Cozumel. We met on the boat. We got along, and he lived near where I live. He was actually a good deal older than me. I think he was like 20 years older than me. But we just hit it off. And he liked going up to hang out in Reno. And he had one of those membership cards for the casinos, so that you get deals, Basically what it is they're giving you deals so that you'll gamble more, right? And most of the time I played Pai Gow. I can't even remember the rules to that game, to be honest. But I haven't played since probably I don't know. I think the last time I went was it was before 2005 anyway. So, roughly 20 years ago. But I would win, I used to have this, I'd set up a certain amount of money in my mind that I would be willing to, just burn through so if I lost it, then I was done. And I was pretty good about sticking to that, discipline-wise. But a couple of times, I made a couple $100. Most of the time, I lost money. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Felix. That's a good compliment. I appreciate that. Hey, Bennett. Bennett TGS? What's the TGS? I don't know. Thanks, Brandon, and you're welcome. Thanks for coming by the live stream. The more the merrier. Hey, look at this. We're already up to 29 people. Yeah, I know. It's getting close to 30,000, huh? I don't know if that's one of those significant milestones as far as anything. I mean, well, obviously you don't get a YouTube plaque or anything like that for 30,000, but I don't know. Is there a line that you cross with subscriptions where the algorithm's nicer to you or not? Thanks, Underheat. That's a fantastic compliment. I appreciate that. If I could just get more people to agree with you. Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Right on. You guys must be freezing up there. California's, well, the weather's been kind of hit and miss lately. We've had a little bit of rain. It's been cold a little bit. This time of year, I tend to be colder than most people around here because of the space I live in I converted, well, most of you guys know this. Years ago, I moved back into the family home. It was just before my mom died, and that was kind of the motivation for it. But my dad allowed me to take over the garage for the house. It was a garage kind of / basement because there used to be a room back. Actually, where I'm at now is where we used to have this back room that we just sort of thought of as a basement. And then, anyway, so I took down that wall between the garage and that back room, and I built myself a bathroom, and I put up a little wall up near the front so that my dad could have some storage, but I took over the whole garage. But the house is on a hill, and the garage / basement thing that I'm in goes into the hill. So my back wall, which is right there, is like almost entirely underground. So the earth functions as a heat sink, as far as I'm concerned, you know what I mean, for my location and whatever's going on. So it's cool in the summertime, right, because it stays nice in here. But in the winter, it just gets cold. It's like I'm okay right now because I have my little space heater. I'm not running it now, but I have been running it, sort of trying to build up some heat right here for, while I'm doing the live stream. So, but the overall weather's been okay. I mean, for, winter in California. I mean, it's mostly mild here all the time, though. I mean, I'm sure if you live up in the Sierras or something, it's a different story, but here in the Bay Area, it's, pretty mild. Oh, they do stuff like that kind of thing with the, fire departments do some kind of, I don't know what is that? Is that part of community outreach or something? I mean, I don't know what the motivation for it is in there, and I assume it's just to, be cool with Christmas. But yeah, they do things like that occasionally. And of course, for any kind of, if your local town, city, town, unincorporated area, whatever, it doesn't really matter. A lot of times places will have like a little holiday parade, down the main street or something like that. maybe start experimenting. Do you mean just making ASMR videos in general, Brandon, or do you mean making the kind of the trippier NNSBB type? I'm not sure what you mean by experimenting. Well, I'll just give you the answer is, that for both of those questions. The reason I started making ASMR in general is because I consume ASMR a lot. And this was early days, right? So back to 2012. Well, before that, right? I was watching whisper videos and stuff when that's what we called them, right? You know what I mean? I don't remember the girl's name that coined ASMR, but, and I don't even remember exactly when she did that. So there was two things. One, I just kind of felt that there was value in giving back, because since I enjoyed ASMR so much, and I'm kind of an artsy-fartsy music, whatever, I don't know what you want to call me, but, so that part, just doing something creative appealed to me. And the other thing is I had, just a couple of months before I started this channel, given up booze. I used to be a blackout drunk. Well, I guess I still am a blackout drunk. I just, I don't drink. It's that simple. But I needed things to do to fill my time since I wasn't hanging out in bars and stuff all the time anymore. So it seemed like a good idea to kind of like, just start doing the ASMR videos. As far as doing the NNSBB stuff, it's just because I'm a weirdo and I like making weird things. That's really what it comes down to. So I hope that answers your question, Brandon. Any plans for a storytime ASMR like train ride? Yeah, there's the thing. It's I don't plan on making those types of videos, Felix. They kind of come to me. I get an idea, and it's so I do have plans for. This is ambitious, and it'll be a while before I get to it. But I don't know if any of you guys know who Joe Frank is. He's a radio. Well, he used to be a radio host guy out of. I think it was the NPR channel. I want to say out of Santa Monica or someplace like that, up near LA, or maybe even in LA. I don't remember. But he would do these odd stories with sort of trippy music underneath them. And I don't know, I've been thinking of things to do along those lines. So it won't be quite the same sort of thing as Train Ride or the Creek thing. They're going to be a lot more trippy. What I think I'd like to do, though, is make two versions. One that'll be the trippy musical version. So kind of spoken word over music. So, like I said, if you know who Joe Frank is, you get the idea. Or Ken Nordine, the guy that did word jazz back in the day. That kind of thing. But I was thinking that I could also make an ASMR version that would be less musically oriented, right? But just more kind of sound and atmosphere with the same story pretty much. And that way there would be two versions, one on Three Monks in a Tub, which would be the musical trippy one. And then the other one will be on, here on the Bill MaxVoxPax channel on I don't know. But the idea would be that the spoken word part would be more or less the same. It would just be the context of it, what's going on around it, whether it was atmospherically cool and chill like ASMR, or whether it would be trippy and psychedelic and nonsense like, Okay, I'm going to move on from the tapping, and I'm going to do the brushing. Let's do some brushing with the craft brush. Brushing with the craft brush. Brushing with the craft brush. And go over here too. Brushing with the craft brush. brush over there, talk over here. Brushing with the craft brush as I mumble, I don't know, awkwardly over here. Brushing over there. Okay, now I'll switch and do a little bit of talking over here while I brush over there, right? Talking over here and brushing over there, right? Talking over here and brushing over there. Talking over here and brushing over there. Yeah, let's do some more. Just straightforward brushing of the craft brush. Brushing with the craft brush. You know, I'm going to try. Is there a significant difference to the sound of it to you guys when I brush the top of the mic? Because it's not in front of the capsule. But I didn't know maybe if it would. Because it's on the you know, the metal grill protective shield bit. I don't know. I thought maybe it would kind of do the same sort of vibration. Maybe, I don't know. So I'll do it over here. Do brushing with the craft brush. Brushing with the craft brush. And we'll try the top here again. Just to see what that's like. Oh, somebody's upstairs moving around. Okay, let's get a little bit more brushing over here. I don't know why it suddenly just appeals to me to brush on the top of this thing. Well, anyway. Oh, okay. Sandrine, hey. I'm glad you could make it. So, James, do you like it on the top of the thing, or should I just stick to doing it in front of it, right in front of the capsule like this? I don't know, something about it, doing it up here, just the physicality of it appeals to me. But if it's not a good, effective brushing technique, then I should just not bother with it, shouldn't I? Oops, stop kicking things, Bill. And we're doing a little bit of whispering. And we're doing a little bit of brushing. And we're doing a little bit of whispering. And we're doing a little bit of brushing. And we're doing a little bit of whispering. And we're doing a little bit of brushing. I think in a second here, I'm going to move to the crinkle bag of bubble wrap. That same beat up piece of bubble wrap I've been. I just like the way it crinkles. You know what? So let's move to the crinkle. A little bit of crinkling. Okay, thanks, Felix. Maybe I'll just try to do it once in a while, just for a change up, you know what I mean? So, what's everybody's favorite out of the triggers I use for the live streams? So typically what I'm going to be doing tonight is that, you know, what I almost always do is the chunk of wood, which I both tap and brush. And I've also recently been doing it, tapping it with the handle of the brush, which I quite like. And then, of course, there's the brushing. And then, of course, now there's the crinkle bag. And then, of course, the jar, which I'll get to in a little bit. But y'all know I really like the jar. I don't know what it is about it I like, but... Hey, Kate Amanda, how you doing? Brushing is your fave, right on? bag of weed. I rarely have a big bag of weed, man. I usually have small bags of weed, like, you know, in the neighborhood of an eighth, mostly because I'm just broke all the time. And there's a place I can walk to because I'm, you know, a pedestrian, you know. But I can usually get pretty decent quality stuff for a decent price. Jar and brushing, alright. And mic. Brushing the mic and whispering, okay. Wait, what? You have lollies from the Fireys? I think I missed it. I think it went over my head, man. And we're going to do a little bit of whispering over here. We'll do a little bit of crinkling over here. Over there, I mean. So crinkling on that mic while I whisper on this mic. And then... right now, Sandrine, the only way that you can do donations to me is the thanks button on the YouTube thing. Oh, that brings me to a thing, because I am going to get off my butt and set up a Patreon and all that stuff. I mean, I know I keep saying I'm going to, and I just keep not doing it. Okay, you can all tell how much I prioritize money, right? I mean, I should though, right? I'm always so broke. It'd be better if I, you know, took money more seriously. Anyway, YouTube really they really like the idea of us doing these membership things. I think mostly because they get a piece of it, you know what I mean? Which is fine, whatever, it's their platform, they're entitled to, you know, their tax, as it were. But I'm not a big fan of putting things behind the paywall, right? I'm sure, well, you're all going to hear about my fantasy again. I mean, most of you have heard this a zillion times. But my fantasy is to get off my ass and actually do my 3 channels, have them both, or all 3 of them, kind of functioning properly. You know, like I've been trying to get this one going, and I think I'm doing pretty good about being consistent with getting stuff out. But if I could get the other 2 channels to kind of fall in line in a similar manner, and then if I could get, like, say, 1 million people to, either be subscribed or just regular watchers or whatever, of the 3 channels. So it doesn't have to be on one channel, it just has to be, concurrent, across the 3 of them or whatever. But if I had 1 million people and 10% of them were willing to give me $1 a year just because they liked what I did, that's $100 grand. Gross, obviously, but that's fine. I think that's my imagination leads me to believe that that's a doable possibility. Mostly just because I'm a left-wing screwball, so I don't want to put things behind a paywall. Anyway, back to the YouTube membership thing. One of the things they have that seems kind of interesting to me, but I'm of mixed emotions about it, is that they, firefighters. Thanks, Red Boy. They have these things that I guess they're stickers, which I was like, what? Anyway, it seems like people like them. I don't know. Are you interested in the sticker thing? Is it worth me setting up the membership thing? I mean, the only thing you'd be getting is those stickers. So obviously I would make it as, the cheapest price that YouTube will let me make the membership. Again, because I'm not looking to be a financial drain on any individual human. You know what I mean? It's like the busking model. You know what I mean? Just think of me as being the guy out doing his thing with his guitar case open. And if you like what I do, yeah, throw a buck in there. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm hoping to get going. I think the model of doing music and or any other kind of creative content thing nowadays, doing it like through record companies and the like, I think is just, that's a thing of the past. I think the one thing that digital, especially online visual, allows us to do is interact directly with the people who enjoy our content, like this, right? I mean, there's no record company in between us. I mean, there's YouTube, which is the platform of distribution. But once they set up the software and I have access to it and I have OBS or whatever, right? You know what I mean? The only thing keeping me from doing these is my own schedule. You know what I mean? So I like this. Trying to build community interaction. I mean, I miss the old days of ASMR because I felt like I don't feel as much part of a community as I did back then. You know what I mean? It's blown up so much and there are so many people. And there's a class of ASMR artists that make ASMR now. And to be honest, I question whether or not they do the tingle thing. You know what I mean? I don't know whether they experience it. Because it kind of seems like they're just kind of following a formula because I think it works, right? They get, you can, if it's, it seems to be that there's a couple of things. A certain amount of slickness of production seems to be successful. And of course, attractiveness, especially when it comes to female creators. It's like there's a lot of very attractive young women making ASMR. And some of them, I don't know. It doesn't seem to me like they really completely understand ASMR. That they're just doing it because they see it as a way of, participating in a content creation scenario, which is fine. I don't want to say they can't do it. I guess I'm just a crotchety, grumpy old man, and I'm a middle-aged man anyway. I just miss, say back in, 2010 or 2011, or, to me, I think that was like just before I made my channel. I think, to me, was the peak of ASMR, or at least as far as, from a community standpoint. Okay, let's do the jar. Oh, wow, Max, thank you very much. That's super cool, man. I really appreciate that. Anything like that is welcomed, and I am humbled by your generosity, man. That is really groovy. Thank you. Hey, wow, we just made 40 concurrent viewers. How's that for I think that might be the first time I've made it to 40. Does anybody keep track of that? Does anybody remember these types of facts? I don't really. I keep thinking that I'm going to, but. Wow, 30 hours, Nasal Penny. Yikes. Well, then you deserve to, do something to kick back and just relax. Oh, anyway, back to Max's generosity. Everybody give Max a pat on the back and, thank you. And what the hell is this? Weird, okay. I don't know. The technology thing is still being, I don't know, maybe I'm just being paranoid because we had such, those of you who are coming in recently won't have known, but when I first started this, it took a minute to just get the live stream to function properly. But, we're here now. Stop complaining. Stop being paranoid. Okay, cool. James, you might have been 40. Oh, wow. Now it's telling me, at this end, it tells me I have 42. Wow, I don't think I've broken 42 before. As far as, like, past streams. Nice. Well, that's cool. I like the idea that it's growing. Although, I have mixed feelings. I don't want it to get so big because, there are times... and I don't mean this in a bad way. It's just that, oh, thanks, Jan. I appreciate that. That is super kind. What was I saying? I just got distracted by Jan's thing. What was I frickin' talking about? talking about having view. I don't know, man. Why did my brain just do that? You'd think I've been smoking weed all day and I haven't had any for weeks. Oh, right. Thank you, Fathom. But that's it. I mean, I guess that's the end of the message, really, is I don't want it to get so big that I can't keep track of things, right? Because there's times that when we're doing these things here and we're only getting like 20 people or now up to 40 people or whatever, and then somebody will ask a question and somebody else will make a comment and somebody else will do a thing and there'll be like 2 or 3 things kind of going along parallel, you know? And I swear there are times I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, what were you saying? You know, well, like I just did, but that was just me brain farting. But there are times it's just like I'm juggling conversations and it gets challenging for my poor little addled brain. So I could see that if I started having, like, say, a couple hundred people in these things, you know, it would be fun and fantastic to kind of have that sort of growth and, you know, reach and all of that. But at the same time, it would be really difficult for me to keep up with too many conversation streams. Well, no, I guess the thing that I do then is I try to get people to be moderators, right, to kind of help, you know, with the load of people being involved. I don't know. I guess, you know, we'll just deal with it. If it grows to be gigantic, then we'll figure out how to deal with it if it grows to be gigantic. But otherwise, I'm going to, you know, I'll keep doing it. Oh, wow, Yuckerman. I'm glad I could give you any sort of relief in that regard. Hey, Ben, how you doing? Glad you could make it. Thanks, Avery. Much love to you, too. Yeah. Cool. This is my favorite part of the jar, is doing this, like, kind of makes me think of this gurgly sort of sound. Gurgle, 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 you know. Not quite like the gurgling of, say, a gargoyle, right, you know. I am well, thanks for asking, Ben. Yeah, I'm a little excited about Christmas, mostly just because it's a family thing. Not so much about New Year's, because I don't go out anymore, you know what I mean? I gave up drinking, so, you know, a lot of that stuff I had, you know, I kind of conditioned myself that all of that stuff had to do with me being boozed up. So now that I don't booze up anymore, it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of things I just don't do. And so New Year's Eve parties is one of them. I kind of like, well, I hang out with my family. Maybe I do something with a friend now and again, but mostly I just stay home and chill out on New Year's Eve. Oh, no, Jan. I don't know whether you can make it out or not. It says time remaining at the top. I do that so that people, when you arrive, you know how much time is left. Because sometimes people show up and it's like there's only like 5 or 10 minutes left in the stream. And I feel bad. Because I hate, you know, disappointing people, basically, I guess is what it comes down to. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear about that, Rob. Well, you still have 37 minutes, man. And there's always next Saturday. Anyway, where are we at here? Okay, yes, I'm excited for Christmas and New Year's Eve. The clock is that. Okay. Yeah, I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do with the Patreon yet, though, James. That's the thing. I don't know, but I will figure it out. It's my intent is to sometime in the month of January just sit down at some point, or maybe over a couple of different times of sitting down, and make some decisions, and then just do it. You know what I mean? I'm most likely going to have it be mostly just like following the busking model. I don't know. I'll think about it. But yeah, by the end of January there will be a Patreon though, even if it's just a busking thing. Where you just pay me $1 a month because you like me. Holy mackerel, Sandine. Wow, much love to you too, Sandrine. That's really generous, and I super appreciate it. 3 cheers for Sandrine, everybody. Man, that's crazy. I really do appreciate that. I don't feel like I am. Sometimes I feel like I don't satisfactorily express my gratitude. Okay, Rob. Yeah, it's disappointing that you can't make it or to hang out more for any longer, but I appreciate you checking it out, and yeah, watch the video later at your leisure, and then maybe we'll see you next Saturday. I mean, you're pretty consistent, dude, so. All right. Okay, I'm going to go play a little bit more Code Breaker, just because why not? Got a little over half an hour left. So let me move this over here so I can still see the comments, but then I can get back to this here. Excuse me. And there we go. So again, I'm just gonna stick with the 2-color start, because it's a sort of mix between easy and just making that little change of having 1 color or 2 colors instead of 1 significantly improves the probability of getting the answer before the end. So we're going to do it this way now, at least for the moment. Okay, so one of them's correct and one of them is in the puzzle but not in the right spot just yet. Okay, let's see, Evan says, I think there's more to it. Yeah, I think so. If for nothing else, the experience of it, you know what I mean? I haven't seen anybody be able to model experience very well. I mean, actually, I've never, at all. I mean, how do you explain or even adequately describe experience? I mean, you can talk about the observable thing as the chemical reactions and where they occur in which cells and this sort of thing. But I don't find that a sufficient explanation for the phenomenon. So, yeah, I do believe there's something more going on. I can't tell you what it is, but, it's an interesting thing to roll around in your head. And, okay, so yellow's not in it. I'm going to think that maybe I guessed the red correctly. And now let's try the orange over here. here, because that's the last spot for orange to try, right? So if it's, if we don't get 2 blacks this time, then I know the red's not in the right spot. Codebreaker's not on the screen yet? Oops, you know what? There you go. That's my fault. How about now? I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, let me make sure that it gets over there. Because the stream has been, that was my fault. I thought I clicked the right button, but I guess I did not. All right, man, you guys are all thinking, going, what's wrong with this screwball? Thanks for letting me know, Sandrine. Jeez, what a goof. All right, anyway, so. All right, well, all right, so, well, I guess let's just go back through since you guys didn't see the whole thing. So I started with red and orange, right? I got one of them correct and one of them not correct. I assumed that the red is correct. And then I just moved the orange over and then thrown in the yellow just to see. Still only 2 scoring marbles. So therefore, yellow's not in it. And then I'm just taking an arbitrary guess that red is the correct one, where the black marble refers to the red. And then I'm moving the orange to the last spot it can occupy, right? So if it doesn't get a black marble here, then red's not in the right spot. Okay, anyway, so now let's throw in green, I guess, and we'll see what we get. Do we get 3 blacks, or what do we get? No, I get whites. Okay, so that means, since red doesn't go there, that means the white one here referred to that red, which means that this black marble must refer to that orange, which means orange goes there. Now, with that being said, that means that in this first row, this white marble did refer to orange, right? Because it didn't go in those 2 spots. And that means since red can't go here, and the black one did refer to the red has to go there. So there will be 2 black pegs next. Actually, there will be 3, because green gave us a white peg out of these 3 spots, so the only place left for it to go is here. There will be 3 black scoring pegs now. And we'll throw in the light blue. So it could be as many as 4, but there will be at least 3. And light blue's not in it. And we'll put the orange there, and then we'll go put the red over here. And let's throw in the dark blue, shall we? All right, dark blue, but which one, left or right? I'm going to arbitrarily say right. Or excuse me, left. Why did I say right? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let's stick in the purple. And toss the red where it goes in the end there. Okay, everybody's in, but I guessed wrong for the blue, so I just switched those 2 and we'll be code correct. So we'll stick the purple, stick the orange here. Now the dark blue's going to go there instead. And then we'll do the red there. And what do you know? You'd think I knew what I was doing, wouldn't you? Yeah, okay, cool. Anyway, so dude, I don't mind the philosophical questions. The only thing the only risk in that is sometimes when people ask me questions like that, I will go off on a little bit of a, I don't know, I'll just go off on nonsense, I think, and I think I'll probably give people more than they really asked for. So there is the risk in that. But, you can ask me philosophical questions all day long if you want. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, you should take anything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm just some screwball, you know what I mean? Actually, it is my opinion that you should take anything anybody tells you, don't just accept blindly, you know what I mean? Give it some thought. I mean, I don't care if they're a super famous philosopher or whatever. The truth is, they're just a dude that sat down. Well, maybe not necessarily a guy, but, because there are more than dude as far as, maleness, philosopher type people. But, just because a human is famous for being a philosopher doesn't make them not a human. You know what I mean? They might have cool insight that you have value, but that's the gist of it. You know what I mean? I think too many people get way too into hero worship about such things, and I think you should be cautious about that. But yeah, there you go, James. I should have just read ahead. James already answered the question. All right, we're going to do a ring here. Again, starting with magenta, just because it is my habit. And it's white, so it's not in the right spot yet. Still not in the right spot. Still not in the right spot. There we go. Magenta goes there. So I'll try purple starting there. Purple's not in. Neither is dark blue. Okay, light blue is. So these two are in. Nice that they're directly across from each other. All right, I'm here now. And we're going to stick in the green. Actually, these last four are in now, aren't they? It's just a matter of positioning them. Okay, so the green's there. I'm here now. Let's move over. I should be here now. We'll throw in the yellow. What do you know? The yellow's there, so green's there, yellow's there. So these are the two spots I have to fill. We'll start with orange going there. Nope. I'm going to keep the light blue. I should be here now. We should stick the orange there, and I should get a black marble for that. Yep, yep, yep. Now I'm here. Now I'm here. Now I'm here. And this should be red, and that'll be code broken, right? Okay. Let me catch up on the comments here. So I'm going to go back to the regular view of just me. And there we go. And let me catch up on some comments, and then I'll do some more, I don't know, tapping or brushing or something. Okay. All right, cool, Evan. Wow, I appreciate the compliment there, Dakota, but yeah. Yeah, I'm just a dude with a long beard, man. But I do appreciate the compliment. That's very kind of you. Okay, so, wow, it looks like we got up over 45 at one point. Yikes, man. We're growing, man. Before you know it, I'm going to be bigger than the Beatles. I mean, speaking of a rock star, right? Okay, let's do that. I like that kind of, especially if I can get it to kind of bounce just a little bit. Let's go a little bit slower. We're inside of half an hour now, right? Maybe it's time to get a little bit slower, right? Calm down, relax. At some point, everybody's going to want to go take a nap or go to bed, depending on what longitude you're on, right? You know, I have been thinking that maybe I should do something for 30,000. I'm going to do it this way so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Although this will be weird, because it's, I don't know. When I was a kid, I was ambidextrous, but not so much anymore. I don't know. Does anybody have suggestions for something they would like to see for 30,000 subs? I mean, that doesn't mean, well, here's the thing. You all know the caveat. Just because you request something doesn't mean I'm going to do it. But, you know, I am more than willing to entertain ideas. Do I think there's an objective morality embedded in human nature? That's a tough one. You know, because there are certain things that humans tend to have in common as far as how they view the world, i.e. don't murder people, except for that's not universal, right? I mean, there are people who are psychopaths, and of course people would like to say, oh, it's because they're broken or damaged or whatever, but that's already a perspective that's contextual. You know what I mean? So, and again, then that gets down into what are you meaning by objective, right? Is objective simply because you could put a measuring stick on it? Or do you mean something that is, if what you mean is something that's free of context, then I'm going to say no. There's nothing free of context in the universe, period. Models that rely on absolutes don't work. That's just an observable thing. You know, people say, if you say, oh, there are no absolutes, and people say, well, isn't that an absolute? And I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to rephrase the statement. Models that rely on absolutes don't work, you know? It's not a matter of saying absolutely there are no absolutes. It's just like, look, absolute zero, right, is a physical concept, is a concept. I mean, the idea of it is that there is no actual motion or anything because there's no temperature, which means, given the fact that there's energy, matter, interaction, you know, E equals mc squared and all that, that means you can't have anything there. So the minute you put a probe in there to measure the thing you're talking about, you've already screwed the, you know, the absolute zero. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know, that's tangential, but it has to do with, you know, what do you mean by context and all of that. But so, again, to get back to the objective morality thing and, you know, using the example of murder, I have met people in my past who viewed the world very differently than I did, in the sense that they were very much like the they embraced violence. The guys I'm thinking, these guys they were men, and both of them were bikers. The guys that I'm thinking of in particular, specifically, one of them was a punk rock guy, and one of them was a member of a, you know, motorcycle gang thing. And they had no compunction about harming, even to the, I don't know that these guys ever killed anybody, but it wouldn't surprise me if they had. And, you know, their description of their view of the world is that, you know, if you screw up somebody or you do whatever, you should expect to be killed. But here's the thing, they're willing to accept that as their fate. You know, if they screw up and somebody else says, dude, you deserve to die for that. You see what I'm saying? So when I see things like that and they can function in the world in a normal way, as far as like having a job and paying their taxes and all this kind of nonsense, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you're describing what you're talking. I mean, that's part of the thing with philosophy, isn't it? It's like, what are we talking about, man? You have spent so much time defining terms and trying to come into what is it are we actually talking about, man? But see, I'm not interested in things being, I'm not interested in finding an objective answer that's going to be, you know, correct, you know, independent of any kind of context. I'm more interested in the context, right? What is happening in the context, and how does a human exist in there, and in what ways do humans exist? I'm a big proponent of the concept of agape, right? I have my other channel, the W.C. Postman channel, there's a video I made that's something like survival strategy or something like that, where I talk about, well, survival strategy, and that, you know, something like agape is in fact our best survival strategy. And you can make an argument for that. However, that is contextual. It has to do with a particular perspective and a goal that I have in mind that I believe is best for humanity. You know what I mean? So that there's a baked-in subjective perspective, which is fine. I don't think you have to not have a subjective perspective. I just think if you want to communicate reasonably with other people, you have to cop to that subjective perspective and explain what it is and why. You know what I mean? If you don't have a good answer why, then you could just cop to that too. You know what I mean? Anyway, I hope that any of that makes sense. Oh, thanks for that, Owen Holland. Yeah, that was I'm pretty pleased with that for the most part. The only thing I regret about that video that we did together is that I wasn't as good at recording ASMR back then. I mean, because the only experience I had recording before I started doing this channel was recording, you know, music, which was mostly bands. You know what I mean? You know, like electric bands, like electric guitar, drums, bass, you know, this sort of thing. But yeah, for the most part, I was pretty pleased with the way that thing turned out. World 2 at 30,000. You know, I've been thinking about a way of trying to figure out how to do Bill Goes on Tour kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know, it's a bit of a fantasy of mine. I would like the idea of being able to travel places. And I mean, I don't know how, I mean, I suppose I could do a thing very much like this, but I would just be, you know, at that end of the room with the microphones, and everybody else would be kind of sitting where they sit, you know, whether it's like at a, you know, some kind of venue, like a, I mean, I don't know how many people would, I mean, I don't know how, what kind of place it could be at, right? 'Cause, I mean, I'm not, I mean, it's kind of you to call me a rock star, but the truth is I don't have that kind of draw, you know what I mean? I mean, 30,000 subscribers almost, right? But that's spread over a planet, right? That's not 30,000 people in a city, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I would like to figure it out, though. I just think it would be fun to actually, you know, get out into the world and actually meet some of you guys in person, you know? I don't know, it could be interesting. I think it could be valuable. Well, you know, Yickerman, I think there is value. I mean, if I'm understanding the way you're describing what you're describing as far as the existential crisis thing, because if you have the capacity and the willingness to face an existential crisis in a meaningful manner, you will grow, right? What is First Avenue? Was that a performance venue of some kind? Oh, hey, Rob. I just noticed it was you. How you doing? Okay, I'm going to start brushing on the end grain a little. And I think I'm going to make another attempt once again at just going slow. Oops, stop banging the shock mount thing, man. I like that. It's kind of subdued, so I imagine it's not as cool as the brushing straight onto the cage there, if you like that more intense sort of thing. But all right, let's put this down, and let's just brush straight onto the mic. How about that? Doing some brushing, and we're going to kind of slow down, get calm for the end of the thing, right? For those of you that are going to be going night-night, we'll do the send you off to sleep, to dream, pleasant dreams, hopefully, yeah. What is the line from the kids in the bed with some visions of sugar plum fairies and they're dancing in their head or something like that? Let's throw that. What is that poem? That Saint Nick thing. Okay, let's get a little bit slower, Bill. A little bit slower. And a little bit slower. There we go. Brushing on the mic with a craft brush. And now, brushing on this mic with a craft brush. With a craft brush, I brush the microphone. I brush the microphone with a craft brush. I brush the microphone with a craft brush. Brushing the microphone with only one I've really read is one of my nephews. One of the things, one of the things I have in common with one of my nephews is a fascination with the character One Punch Man, and I had been seeing the anime version, right? The cartoon or whatever you want to call it, which I really really enjoy. Anyway, he's got the manga, or at least the first few episodes or whatever. Editions, whatever it is the right term. And I like the idea that one has it going, that you turn the pages the other way. Anyway, I've really enjoyed that one, but that's the only one I've ever really watched. Or excuse me, looked at as far as manga type things. I mean, tangentially, I suppose, back in the 90s when I was attending San Francisco State, a dude that I knew at school was very into graphic novels, and he would loan me some occasionally for me to check out because he was really into it. He's one of those guys like, have you ever seen this? And he was very into wanting to share his enthusiasm with the things, which was cool. I appreciated it because I got to read some. The one that I remember the most that I enjoyed was The Saint of Killers. That was pretty crazy. Which he's a character in that there's a TV show that they did based on similar stuff that was, I guess, tangential to that character. That was the preacher. Which I enjoyed that too as well, but for whatever reason the one that focused on the Saint of Killers was, I found very fascinating and enjoyable. Oh, we're inside of 10 minutes. So I guess this is about the time I ask people if there's any last minute questions they have. So let me get to the comments thing. Yeah, I agree with you, Evan. Okay, so today is the 21st. So I guess, the next one is going to be on the 28th. I could have just added 7 to 21 and gotten 28, you idiot. So I guess the thing I was thinking in my head was, seeing y'all one more time before New Year's. And yeah, I think I was kind of thinking about maybe putting videos out on Christmas and New Year's Eve just for, maybe even adjusting my output schedule to make sure that that's the way things line up, just because I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet, but there's likely to be videos on both Christmas and New Year's Eve, I think maybe. So Christmas Day probably and New Year's Eve would be what I'm thinking about. Probably not a live stream, but video coming out anyway. Okay, I think last time I ended the live stream kind of just humming a little bit of, was it Brahms' Lullaby? That's the da 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 la da 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 Did I see your prior question? Let me see. I guess not. Oh, here we go. Do you mean, do I have any thoughts on how existence came to be if there is a God who created God? I am an atheist, so I don't believe in God. I'm not anti-theist, so I'm not going to try to talk anybody else out of believing in God. If it helps them model the world, then fine, use that to model the world. My only concern with various religion things is that sometimes they seem to butt heads with observable scientific, phenomenon stuff, and it's just like, come on now. um, if it was the Big Bang, what made the chemicals? Well, see, there's the thing. The Big Bang, well, first of all, the Big Bang is sort of a bad name for it, isn't it, right? It was an extremely rapid expansion is really what it was. And that is where they start with the creation of the chemicals, right? It starts off as plasma, right, is my understanding, that you end up with basically just, fundamental particles, and they start, being a soup, so to speak, I suppose. Well, plasma. And then eventually stuff starts forming other things. Yeah, see, there's the thing. I don't know if it's the inanimate causing the animate, because we don't really understand what it is to be animated, do we? You know what I mean? Since that's not modeled very well, anything that we try to come up with to explain those phenomenon ends up being within the realm of pseudoscience, because we haven't come up with things that are falsifiable to really describe that stuff very well. I don't know. I don't know if that helps you, or if that was, what you were looking for as far as. Oh, I did miss several comments here, didn't I? Okay, Rob said it was a famous venue. Oh, Keanu, I didn't even see Keanu, I guess. I'm assuming it's the same as Keanu Reeves as far as the pronunciation of your name. Thank you for letting me know, man. I am happy that I could offer you any kind of comfort or relief. 30-minute video, just, okay. Yeah, see, there's the thing. I don't know. We don't know what's, and do we know that there has to be space? We're used to that because that's how our brain functions, and we exist the way we exist, and so it's like visualizing higher dimensions is next to impossible for humans, right? Because we are embedded in our, the three spatial dimensions with time, right? So our 4D time stream kind of thing. So it's like, if you think of, spatial dimensions going up by one every time you go orthogonally against the other ones, right? So in our case of how that works is to be at right angles, right? So if I have this line, right, and I go at a right angle to it, right, now I've got a plane. And if I go to a right angle to that isn't within that plane, then I have, a cube, right? And so there's your three-dimensional space. All right, so where's the other right angle go when you go into fourth-dimensional space, right? It doesn't exist for us, so like, where is it going? You dig what I'm saying? But the reason I bring that up is we're bound by our notion of space, by our experience of it. So it's hard to say, what would we do if we came up against something that, was completely foreign to us in its manner of existence. Like, like what would be a place that had no space? I can't even comprehend that, frankly. I can kind of, like, you can think of like a point as an abstraction, right? And is that what that is? Is that a space without space? I don't know. That turns into a linguistics game, doesn't it? So I don't know. Well, I hope that you were able to get some chill time there, Jason, to maybe get some sleep at some point. Well, see, Evan, here's the thing. The Big Bang Theory doesn't really tell us how things came into existence. What it talks about is the best that we can do is looking backwards in time, is it appears that all matter started off at a singularity and then rapidly grew from that. We can't go farther back prior to that, at least not now. We have no capacity to do that. So that doesn't mean that that's when the universe came into existence. It means that's the first place that we can start describing it. Do you see the difference there? So it could be that, that the universe in some form or another has always existed, and that maybe it morphs and changes, and now we're in some, incarnation of it, if you want to use that kind of language. Again, when it gets beyond our ability to actually reliably describe and model, then it goes into the realm of pseudoscience. I mean, that's what that is, right? If you can't put it into the scientific method, i.e. it has to be falsifiable. If you can't approach something in a manner that it can be falsifiable, then you're stuck with pseudoscience. I mean, that's just, that's the way we use the term and the concept of science and the scientific method. And that's just down to not being the correct definition of a word so much as just an agreed upon definition for standardization purposes if you want to do disciplines that fall under the umbrella of science, right? I mean, I hope that makes sense. Yickerman says, cool, glad to do it, man. Getting those good headspaces, man. Reptile with sad human eyes. From a cursed automobile. Well, I'm sorry that your automobile is cursed, but, I'm glad you were able to join us. You're very welcome, Evan. Oops, you know what? And the buzzer just went off and I didn't notice it. Because I guess I have the audio output in here set to a different thing, so I'm not hearing it. Anyway, let me go to this. All right, that's done. I'll just leave it like that. There's no time remaining anymore. And let me do this to this to this. So I guess it's now time to wind up. So just before I say goodnight to everybody, does anybody have any last minute questions, statements they want to make to the chat or anything like that? Well, I guess after I turn off, you guys could still chat, whatever. I mean, I don't know how long that stays on. But I guess now's the time to chime in before I say aloha and end the stream. Thanks, James. It's good to have you here, man. I hope to see you next time. Do I have any favorite novels or books? The first one that comes to mind as far as novels is A General and His Labyrinth by Marquez. I read it in the English translation because I don't read Spanish. I would recommend that. I remember it's a thing that just popped into my head as a young person. I was a huge fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs, who wrote Tarzan, and then my favorite of his stuff was the Barsoom series, which is John Carter of Mars. He doesn't write dialogue for crap, but he can write adventure and he can write action really, really well. So his adventure stories are really, really exciting, at least I find them so. And then tangentially to that is that I'm a big fan of William S. Burroughs. I suppose everybody starts off with something like Junkie or Naked Lunch, which, fine, those are good things to read. Most people find him pretty challenging. I find that I think it's the last 3 books that he wrote they were a trilogy, and I think the order of it is The Cities of the Red Night, The Place of Dead Roads, and then Western Lands. I think that's the order that he put them out in, although William S. Burroughs' writing is such that you don't have to read them in order because he screws with time all over the place. So, he purposely screws with time all over the place. I think he had a bit of a mischievous streak, at least, as far as that kind of stuff goes. Good Nacht, Signal. Thank you for your kind wishes. I appreciate that. Auf Wiedersehen to you, I suppose, yeah? I wish I could speak German better. Ich spreche nur ein bisschen Deutsch, but I need to get out some old texts and brush up. I mean, I do the thing where I read Goethe, but the truth is I comprehend next to nothing of it because it's been, holy mackerel, the last time I took German was in college, but it was when I was in San Diego, so it would have been pre-92. You know what I mean? But I took it in high school and in college, so I should speak it better than I do, but if you don't use it, you lose it, you know? Anyway, thanks for chiming in, though. I appreciate it. Any great book recommendations for philosophical books? You know, I'm going to offer you a thing that probably you may not consider philosophical, although I think it fits into the umbrella, or fits under the umbrella. It's a religious book in a lot of ways, but it's Thich Nhat Hanh's Living Buddha, Living Christ. Mostly I find it super fascinating because of his insights and whatnot. But even though I am an atheist, I find the concept usually comes out of Christian theology, especially if you read stuff like an Eastern Orthodox crap. I shouldn't say crap, but because of the use of Greek language, is agape. Agape is the concept of profound compassion and love for your fellow humans. And that has a lot to do. There's a huge, huge overlap and commonality between that and the compassion notion that comes out of Buddhism. And Buddhism doesn't require a deity at all for it to function properly. But I find it a good book to read when you're trying to understand just humanity and being human and having care for other humans. Because there's the key, right? We need each other to survive, and we should be better about taking care of each other. Right? It is my firm belief that governance needs to be us taking care of ourselves, right? And what I mean us, I mean anybody who's willing to be us, right, can be part of us. The only caveat is you have to be willing to make that acceptance as well. So you don't get to, no ladder pulling or door shutting, If you want to be part of us, then you have to allow for everybody else who also wants to be part of us to be part of us, as long as they'll also accept that caveat, Anyway. I've never been to Germany. Actually, is that right? I think when I was in Holland, I might have been in Germany briefly because we were going someplace. I don't remember. So I'm just going to say I haven't been to Germany. But that part of the world, what I've seen of it photographically seems pretty amazing. Anyway. Yeah, human beings, we're a social species, Evan, right? That's just an observable fact of, from an anthropological perspective, right? We rely on each other to exist. We're a cooperative and collaborative species, right? Okay, you know what, gang? I think I'm going to call it that. My back's giving me some grief, so it's time to go sit on my recliner and not be sitting here. How much have I traveled? Well, I will briefly give you a short answer, and then I'm going to say goodnight. I have barely traveled in the U.S. I've been in California, I've been in Nevada, I've been to Maryland, I've been to Virginia and D.C. because I did a school trip. I've been to Texas, but only because I was going other places and on a layover, you know what I mean? I took a couple of cruises, one down to Cozumel and one through the Panama Canal. And I've been to the UK 3 times, and I've been to the Netherlands twice. And all 3 of the times I was gone to Europe, I went for extended stays. So the first time in the UK was in '85 for 2 months. And then I went to the Netherlands in, I guess that would have been 93? Yeah, 93. And I was there for 3 months because I got a gig. An artist that I used to work for in San Diego moved to the Netherlands, and then he offered to bring me there to do some work for him again. And then I went back to work for him again in '98. And again, that was another 3 months. But yeah, anyway, so there's the extent of my traveling that I can remember now. So, You know, on Holland, I figured you probably did because of the Holland part in your name. I stayed in Utrecht, and I loved being in Holland. If I had money, I would go back there frequently. You know, if I had the money, I'd actually just keep an apartment there. But, you know, I'm not an uber wealthy guy, so I don't do those types of things. You know, I'm losing control of myself. I don't want to be, I have to go relax and, and sit on my recliner. So I'm going to say it's the end of tonight's stream, and I'm going to say, aloha, siblings.